Welcome to Epicenter, the hub of innovation in the heart of Helsinki, where ideas come to life and creativity thrives, where innovation meets community. Get ready to learn, network, and make an impact. Let's go.
How's everyone doing? Oh yes, good. You've been to these before. You know that I like answers back. We have a couple of seats open in the front if anyone wants to get a closer bird's eye view of what's going to happen today. Okay, well, stairs are good. Hey, my name is Joey. I am the community manager here at Epicenter Helsinki. Epicenter is a place to supercharge and innovate growth. We are a meeting arena for local change makers to come together to share ideas, to network, and to grow. We support this by creating a physical space where knowledge, collaboration act as a platform for the acceleration of said innovation and growth. So, Epicenter is all about bringing brilliant minds together, and today is absolutely no different. We are so excited for the continuation of our tech series. This is a monthly look into the biggest topics and trends surrounding various tech industries. So today we've gathered to discuss the intersection of healthcare and technology and how it's changing the way we approach wellness. As we all know, the healthcare industry is constantly evolving, and new technologies are being developed every day to address some of the biggest challenges in healthcare. From telemedicine and wearables to artificial intelligence and robotics, the possibilities seem to be pretty endless. So over the course of the next hour, we're going to talk about ways that health tech can be used to prevent diseases, extend the life of your loved ones and yourself, and how it gives you superpowers. So Epicenter is, as we know, a safe space for the exchanging of ideas. So we please welcome you to ask any questions that you have. I have a few up my sleeve as well, just in case, if we need to get the ball rolling. But please extend that. After the event, we would love if you could stay around for some more networking. We have two companies here who have products to demo, so please have a moment to say hello to them as well. But shall we begin? Yes. Oh, come on. Shall we begin? There we go. You see, now we're hyped, our energy, our mind is focused. We're going to ask some questions. So our first speaker is the CEO and founder of CircaGene, a company specializing in the analysis of genetic data through molecular biology and bioinformatics. With over 20 years of experience in the field, he has developed numerous innovative bioinformatic tools that have improved the field of molecular biology for various industries and applications. So please help me welcome to the stage my friend François, CEO and founder of CircaGene. Thank you, sir. I'm going to do a quick switch to your presentation, but the clicker is there.
Yeah, thank you so much to be here today. I can't believe we have so many people so early in the morning. I'm not a morning person, so I'm like, thank you, that's amazing. So this is me, François Paillier, so I'm CEO of CircaGene. Today, I'm not going to give a kind of technical talk. I want to talk about you and what I would love to listen, like what I would love to know to live longer and to make sure that my loved ones are going to live longer. So it's something that is really different, not the usual talk. And Joey told me, yeah, you can talk as long as you want. So just like grab a lot of coffee, we'll sleep here, and in 8 hours we'll see if we have some questions. Kidding, don't worry. So disclaimer, because I'm going to talk about a lot of health technologies. This is not medical advice. This is only discussing like technical technology trends and stuff and what I suggest you to do. Then you make the decision. So I'm the father of two, and it's really shaped the way I'm thinking because I want to protect their lives too. I'm the CEO and co-founder of CircaGene. So basically we leverage DNA in order to make sure that you live longer, healthier, happier. I'm a Founder Institute graduate, so a Founder Institute is actually the largest pre-seed accelerator in the world and probably the toughest one. I'm also a mentor of a health startup in Silicon Valley, and I'm advisor in a lot of companies from Indonesia to US and so on in different fields, but all these fields are connected to SDG and most of them in health. And I'm also a humanitarian, so my chief medical officer, so really quick, but I need to talk about that. My chief medical officer is actually Ukrainian in Ukraine, so you can imagine last year we were like pretty shocked and we were thinking about, well, I'm not that bad in paintball, but on the battlefield, am I going to be good enough to survive more than 10 seconds? And after a few days, actually, clinics started to call us 1 time, 5 times, 10 times, 15 times to say, well, we do have like tens of thousands of patients without any medication here. And well, that's a problem because they have cancer. So you don't give medication, they are going to die really quickly. So what we decided to do is to create this NGO in Ukraine. It's called Mission Kharkiv. And we were thinking, well, nobody's talking about that. 200,000 people dying from cancer in Ukraine. Have you heard that on TV, on radio? It's nowhere. Mariupol, 80,000 people dead. Okay, we have 200,000. And we are pretty much the only organization doing that. So we are doing a lot of things. For the time being, if you need to do one thing today, is actually we do have a mission which is to provide some emergency kit to power station. They're getting bombed, and they have nothing, not even a tourniquet. So what is happening is that most of the time, ambulance come, and the people are dead already because they bled to death. So we are training people, we are sending kits, so if you have any material, feel free. We are happy to take that. On a slightly better, more positive note, we are now backed by United Nations. We are backed by a lot of different people, including Doctors Without Borders, and we raised several $1 million to pay for very expensive medication. And the first batch of medication actually arrived, I can't invent that, the 24th of December. So that was pretty cool. Let's go back to you. So today I will be talking about you. You and you. And only you interest me today. So my goal today is that if every person in this room take 1 or 2 or 3 pieces of advice from this talk, you may live 10 years longer. Like pick the right one, because you have like something that is probably useful for you and to your loved ones. So at the end of the day, I want you, at the end of the talk, to have an action plan. So if you have your phone or paper or something, please take some notes. So from all the technologies that are emerging. So what I want you to do is actually to define in your head what does mean healthy. We all want to be healthy. Well, if we go back 50,000 years ago, healthy was pretty much, well, I'm still not dead, right? If you're living in, I don't know, in Algeria, maybe it's like, oh, I still have 2 teeth here. That's still, yeah, that's good enough. Me, no, I don't want that. I want actually to maximize my lifespan. So I want to prevent as much as I can. So I want to be in good health right now, but I also want to protect my health in like 10 years' time, 20 years' time. So I want to optimize exactly what I'm doing. So it's actually, I'm a part-time longevitist. Let's invent a word today. So it's super important for you to begin with, do I want to do that? Okay, what does it mean to me? And your definition of healthy is yours, and it's legit. And you can keep it for yourself, that's perfectly fine. So define this, take the decision to improve your life and your health right now. So define your objective. My objective is to live as long as possible, and at least till my kids are autonomous, right? Don't want to let them in this, alone. So define your objectives. Maybe your objective is actually to, I don't know, support your mother, to I don't know, visit the world or whatever. Define your objective and then define your unique method to achieve it. This is like, it seems crazy, but most of the time we have a car insurance. We know what we want to do for the next holidays. But our life, we don't really care about this. It's really crazy when we think about it. But we should dedicate a lot of time to that. So you should have somewhere in your brain or somewhere in your house a SWOT of your health. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Do you know your SWOT? Do you know your strength? I mean, which sport are you supposed to do? Like, what are you supposed to die from? Which disease, so you can fight them? Do you know? Who know? Who know that? I know. Because I spend tens of thousands and a lot of time. Do you know? Do you want to know? It's really important for you to leverage all the technologies out there. And then the budget. Okay, well, the budget. People will say, yeah, that's fine. You're entrepreneur, you must be rich. Yeah, well, not really. You should have a budget. Why? Okay, but the budget can be pretty much nothing. On me right now, I have one of the most powerful tools to follow to track my health. What is that? Well, it's my belt. I have a belt. Do you have a belt? So it's an analog object, okay, but it's actually one of the most powerful predictor of your health. Why is that? Because in men, like the visceral fat is actually one of the best predictor of whether you're going to develop a cardiovascular disease. So if you change the way you use your belt, it does mean something very important. This is not connected object. This is pretty cheap object. You already have it, but just listen to your body. Like it can be your belt, it can be something else. You have many things to do in order to improve your health, but most of them are for free. Seems crazy, right? So today I will go back to technology trends. Okay, fine. Singularity is coming. Okay, fine. Like so many things are happening. We are reaching a kind of inflection point in humanity, and it does mean that in a few years, tops, we won't be you, me, we won't be able to predict what will happen tomorrow, literally the next day, because knowledge will have doubled during the night. So what does it mean to us and to our health? So first of all, regarding health, keep this concept in mind. You need to focus on your threat right now. What are my threats to avoid these? Then you set up a baseline. This is a clean state. Okay, I'm good. And then you optimize. Yeah, you saw Titanic, right? Leonardo DiCaprio and so on. They should stop driving blind. That's what you're doing with your health, by the way. You're driving your car with a blindfold. So you should see, check if there is any danger, take actions, and then you can optimize your trajectory, so you save fuel. But you always begin by avoiding poison and what kills you. So chapter 1, poisons. So do you know your poisons? You should know all your poison. The list is really long. I put some of them here. So yeah, if you want to live, stop killing yourself. Simple, right? So that's a shorter chapter here. One of my best enemies is actually a social thing. Like dopamine addiction is a real thing. And personally, I need to get detoxified from time to time. So that's what we call D3, Digital Detox Day. I am a guy that needs to get detoxified. I'm like, literally, I have my phone like it's part of me. It seems crazy. So don't minimize the impact of these. In general, many obvious poisons and some that are less obvious. Conformisms, like the power of no. So even the society asks us to do some stuff that are not necessarily good for us. So always question what you're doing. Like, oh, I don't know. With some friend, we were going to like an NBA match in US. Awesome, love the experience, but should I eat this hot dog? Well, I don't know. I know people who die from prostate cancer. Well, yeah, Now, there is a link between hot dog and prostate cancer. I can explain all this stuff, but it's like, so every time you do something, question it. It's like, is it really something that I do want? Because every time you do something, even one step, even to eat popcorn or whatever, it's like you're making a vote, you're making a decision, you're building your life. So it's, let's stop doing stuff just like we don't think about it. Just invest brain time in like your future. So chapter 2, origins. Oh, I love that one because most of the people are shocked by that. Don't be shocked. We are Frankenstein creatures. We are not like coming from like nowhere just like that. No. Nature, modern nature, did a pretty amazing job building you with different bricks, Lego bricks. Some are not even human. Some are like, this is crazy. We are aliens. And people don't think about that, and they don't think about what it means. But we are actually these guys. We are actually prehistoric men. So, wanted to put a baby here. Why is that? Because let's do a thought experiment. We have a time machine, a big one. Everybody can fit in the time machine. We all go right now, 50,000 years ago, and we're still a baby. We go to a tribe by night, we take a baby, we come back. Then we all raise a baby, put the baby at school and so on. What would happen to the baby? He would have a job. He would be software engineer. He would be on the stage making crazy talk and allegation and so on. He would be, my point, he would be absolutely normal. Who we were 50,000 years ago is still the same guy. Like, tiny, tiny difference. Not significant. So my point here is like, we are cavemen. And evolution shaped us knowing that we are cavemen. So this guy, we are like highly biased. If you have like a tiger or crazy predator running after you, then you need a different kind of intelligence. Limbic system. So basically you don't even think, you act. The problem is we are still this guy. So it does mean that you're manipulated and you manipulate yourself. The fashion, yeah. I like the girl, indeed. I think it's like the AI, when I ask it the question, probably integrated some interesting image. My point is, we are cavemen, and we should compensate that, because it does mean that, indeed, even fashion industry will try to manipulate us, or food industry. They all try to manipulate us and go deep, deep, deep inside our brain to bring this limbic system to life and to say, oh, that's awesome, I'm not thinking about it anymore, and like, I put money and I'm going to kill myself with this crazy sugary beverage or whatever. You need to fight that. You need to like be really conscious of the fact that we are cavemen, and there are some stuff that are really good and others that are really bad. But remember this baby, because that's true. And it was a scientific discussion. Well, if we're still a prehistoric baby, what would happen in this life? Well, it would be exactly the same. So what I try to explain here is that you are like the final product of evolution, of human evolution. But not only human evolution. If we have a look on when you grew in your mother's belly as an embryo, if you look at the embryo, you are actually going through all the different spaces we have in common with others. So inside, your body is actually one of the most, probably the most, well, we don't know exactly how many life forms we have in the universe, but the most known recording device. And you are a fractal recording device. So you record every time, every single second, every single thing you see, you don't know that you see, but actually you perceive. Everything is recorded. So you have like this immense, this huge database of you, in which you have the recipe how to build a human, the evolutionary trajectory, everything. So this is very important too, because you can actually leverage this to your advantage. You constantly record everything, and on top of that, it does mean that you know exactly where is your health, like in your DNA, okay, in your epigenome, in your transcriptome, and so on. So just access the register you need regarding your risk, right? So that seems obvious, but if you think you're going to develop diabetes because your father was diabetic, well, you need to check your DNA, and then you need to check your glucose level, right? But leverage the information you do have. So the prehistoric guy. So once more, it's like I got a guy that told me once I was walking in the forest and suddenly I ran. And I was like, I did not understand why I was running. It was not even conscious. Came back and he saw there was a snake. So the prehistoric brain actually told him, don't think, switch off intelligence, boom, run. I was obeying instantly. So it's like, you're still this guy every single second of your life. But it's pretty cool because we do have superpowers and we do have like knowledge. Because we are a recording device, you actually have access to this huge human database. So indeed, if my father was diabetic, he was, like it does mean that I probably do have a risk because it's not coming from nowhere, this kind of stuff. Maybe at the end of his life, he was like actually bald. Maybe I'm going to lose all my hair. So it's like all this information leverage. If you have a genealogy or a tree, or if you can discuss with all the members of your family, you should do that. So make sure that you actually go through all your genetic landscape, all the people that are related to you. Because if your brother is developing a lung cancer, and he was not even smoking, it does mean that probably you do share a kind of level of risk with him, because your brother, you're going to share 25% of your DNA with this guy. So that's pretty important. Imagine you have a real twin, and this guy is like developing a leukemia. That does mean something for you. So take action if you see something in your genetic landscape. Like a friend of mine, she developed a breast cancer. And I was like, well, why you keep this secret for you? You should tell your sister. You should tell your mother. Not only you will have the support, but they need to do something about it as well. So make sure that, you're not you're not a silo in the health intelligence network. You go through your genetic landscape and you discuss with the people. Prehistoric. Most important, like takeaway message about your prehistoric baby, caveman. Identify your biological identity and do what is needed here with an upgrade. Well, if we take me, I'm a kind of strange mix between Irish DNA and Italian DNA. Oh my God. So it does mean that because Irish settlers, they used to have a lot of cattle, cows, and so on, they were always eating meat. So I know that to eat meat is not good for me. My ideal diet should be Mediterranean diet, but at the same time, I know that because of my Irish DNA, it's going to be really difficult for me to fight it. So I decided to be flexitarian. And it does correspond to my biological identity. So I can learn how to leverage all this. What is yours? It's like, maybe you're Finnish, maybe you're British, maybe you're from South Africa. What does matter is not really where you're coming from, but who you are, biologically speaking. Because you're the product of evolution, you're the caveman I was showing. So the evolution actually shaped you as a man or a woman for a particular environment. Do you respect that? Do you think actually what you're doing, the way you sleep, the way you eat, the way you love, to who you are, evolutively speaking? All good? You're not sleeping? Still okay. I can see people are nodding a bit, so that's pretty awesome. Chapter 3, back to the basics. So in the morning, what we want to know is actually the big things. Let's think, like how to be happy. So let's go straight to the point. What is the secret of happiness? Who is interested by that one? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, some of you. Okay, so in 1938, true story, one of the longest experiments about happiness was launched. So you go to Harvard and you take all these guys, like 700 and so people, and like rich people and not so rich people, and you follow them, generations after generation, their kids and so on. And every generation, you actually, how do you feel? And what about your jobs? And what about this and that and that? And you combine all these data and you arrive like to this crazy conclusion about what makes us happy. If we're happy, we are healthy. So have a look on this book, but long story short, we are a social animal. So what makes us happy are actually good, deep connection with humans. Why is that? Well, the tribe, right? Prehistoric man. You can't build your network, a strong network, people you're ready to die for, you're nothing. You're not a human, right? So strong, deep connection. What are you doing today to nurture this network? A friend of mine, one of the most stupid friends I have, and I'm really proud to have, like, these guys, I love him, he's awesome, but he knows, yeah, okay, I'm pretty stupid, fine. But he got this crazy intelligence about actually the social networking. He told me, you see, I'm like, every month, I'm just going to call every single person I know, and back, and back. And I was like, oh my God, he taught me that. And I was like, this is so powerful. You have a list of people, and in your phone you have the list of people. You're supposed to call them one by one. Do you do that? That's extremely powerful, actually. So keep this in mind. Secret of happiness, good, deep relationships. This is very important. I'm not going to go into the details of blue zones, you know, these 5 zones in the world where people live longer, and in which they have this rare combination of, you know, social links and the food and the way they live and so on. But keep this in mind. So from long-term happiness to short-term well-being, well, yeah, we can be really happy in long period and long term and so on, but what do we do right now? What do we do tomorrow and so on? So there are different things we should do. Do you know the Delphic boat? So let's do a game. Like I will ask you. So this is a boat, Greek one, gorgeous one. So let's say that this is a bit rotten here, and I need to replace the wood. So I replace this part. Is this still the same boat? Well, yeah. Okay. Now, I replace every single part. Every day I replace one. Is it the same boat? Oh, yeah. But in a few weeks' time, it's actually not the same boat, but it's the same boat. So you follow what I mean here. This boat is your body, and you are dying and constantly fighting it. So you have this entropy, you have this erosion. So this is your body, and you're replacing every single, as we talk right now, you replace every single part of that. Some cells are dying, others are dividing, and so on and so on. So the quality of the wood you're going to put is pretty important, right? So my point is food. Yeah, food. Because right now, you are what you eat. Cavemen, let's go back to the cavemen. What is supposed to happen is that you're not going to eat every day, in theory. Your body is meant to sustain long period of restricted calories. Stop eating like crazy. You should be 80% okay with the food. It's like, you should be always slightly hungry. Do an IQ test. Like, When I have a very important creative session or brainstorming session, if I eat everything that I want, I get stupid. I'm not productive anymore. But your body is actually your poison, your body. So we consume too many calories. Keep an eye on that. Respect your inner caveman or inner cave woman. Eat the superfood that works for you. Some foods are amazing. Quality of food for your Delphic boat. So you should know how many calories you're supposed to eat per day. A friend of mine is an international rugby player, is like between 8,000 and 9,000 calories. In the morning, he got like several huge dish of pasta. Me, no, it's going to be like 1,800. I'm not moving my ass. I'm just like sitting in front of my laptop most of the time. Well, it should be a little bit like higher than that, probably 2,000. But fact is, I really keep an eye on my belt, on my weight, on my shape, on my fat index and different things. So, long story short, there are many things out there. Have a look, but it's really important for you to have food discipline. Don't eat these because of that, or like, oh, your limbic system is saying, sugar, jump on it while you can. No, fight your inner caveman again. So Mediterranean diet is maybe the best one for you. It depends who you are, biologically speaking. Maybe you're coming from Siberia or Kenya or whatever. What your previous version of yourself, because you're this combination, used to eat there. How they were living. Well, if you're a big mix like me, it's more complicated, so that's why I went directly to my DNA. But if you're kind of genetically homogeneous, you have like really important answers there. So superfood. So superfood is like all these things. So, how many of these did you eat this morning? I'm not sure you did. The quality of wood for your Delphic boat is there. So you should really eat something that matters. Every single calorie you ingest should fight to have the honor to enter the palace, this sacred place that is your body. They have to fight for it. So they have to be really good food. Don't eat this crazy donut thing or this crazy hot dog. Fight for it because it's killing you if you do the wrong choice, right? All good? Still not sleeping? Oh my goodness, I'm impressed because I'm fighting it. So, body and mind. Something that is really important is actually all what we discovered about the power of the mind. It's pretty amazing. Can you imagine that when I say we are a recording device, when I was a kid, my mother told me, you know, if we have a problem at the previous generation, it's passed to the next one. And I was like, I'm a biology student, and I'm like, I don't believe a word about what you said. Well, yeah, well, okay. Now we know how actually we can transmit this kind of memory. So in my genes, I do have like, in my day-to-day life, I have slightly increased level of stress because one of my grandpa in Ireland was actually starving to death. This event in his life was actually modifying his DNA, methylation of the genome, and this is passed on. This is epigenetics. So can you imagine what you think actually modifies the way your DNA is expressed, and it stays in you and can be passed to the next generation? Think about that. A kind of memory about your feelings. This is crazy, right? This is absolutely crazy. So it does mean that it can be good, it can be bad, but you need to take this into consideration, and in some cases, you need to reprogram it. You need to be your own biohacker, right? Epigenetics is a big thing, and you can actually, it's one of the most accurate biomarker for your lifespan. I was talking about the belt. If you have a budget, go to the epigenetics. It's pretty amazing because you can actually quantify the biological age of your body, which is really crazy when you think about it. Many things leverage your body intelligence. It costs nothing. I mean, you have a great mind. You are currently underestimating the power of your mind. I mean, there are so many things to do here. Use all the different tricks. So your caveman, the way we are hardwired is actually, we think we do that, there is a consequence. Well, actually, you can do the opposite. So if you want to be happy, for instance, you tell your body, smile. Okay, I'm very sad inside, but I'm smiling. And what is happening is that actually it tricks your brain. And after a while, after a few hours, days, you actually feel better because it works both ways. So actually, if you want to be in a particular state, put yourself into the reflection of this state in your body. Do it. Okay, I'm smiling like stupid now, but you see my point. And it's actually going to impact your mood. Stop taking antidepressants and all the stuff if you don't need them. So trick your body, because your body is amazing. Use all the amazing tools that are out there. We domesticated wolves like a while ago, and I love the story about how it did happen, because it was actually a mutation in wolves, make them more social, thinking evolution of humans and basically dogs, future dogs. So use pets. It's actually really powerful. Do you have pets at home? It's actually a really powerful way to remove stress. Did you know that? So help them to help you. Have some pets. They can be digital. Leverage all the tools you have. Metaverse is amazing. I'm delighted to share this time slot today with Eye to Eye. So in US Army, they're using the metaverse. So you have PTSD, you come back from terrible fight. Well, you actually go back to the metaverse and you're confronted. You see what you don't want to see, what you don't want to see in front of you, slightly more, a bit every day, and then you are able to assimilate it and to pass the trauma. So use all the digital tools, including the metaverse stuff. What I discover as well is that you can actually go into your recording device really deep. So you can do a lot of things. So for instance, your partner is asking you, well, Joey, what about going to Greece for like in August for holidays? And you're like, yeah, I'm not sure about that, because you wanted to go to South Africa actually. So you can like a simple trick is actually inside. Like just think that you have this crazy intelligence about all the past generation, and your subconscious is actually a kind of huge multi-layer of these people. They talk into you, listen to them. So Joey could go to bed and just like last time you do in the evening before you sleep is actually just ask yourself the question, do I really want to go to Greece? And first thing in the morning is just like blank page. What do I feel? Well, strangely, I feel now. So what was the question I was asking myself during 10 seconds before I sleep? The question was like, hey, Joey, do you want to go to Greece? And the answer is no. It's like, do it every day. Ask yourself one question to your inner you. It's extremely powerful when you need to change job, or whether like, whatever question you have, just try that. That's pretty amazing. Anyway, do also lucid dreaming. In lucid dreaming, you can actually heal a lot of stuff. Lucid dreaming is a cheaper version of the metaverse. So let's say you're losing someone, but you wanted to have a last conversation. You can actually connect. We internalize the personality of the people that are around us, and it's pretty amazing. So you can talk with your loved ones that are dead. You can actually fly, or you can create anything you want. I actually like the last one. I had one lucid dreaming. I asked myself, oh, which kind of movie I'd like to see? Okay, show me a movie I would love to see. The movie I would love to see. And I saw a movie I love to see, and I was like really impressed because I really loved it. I was so excited in the morning. I just put it on a page, and then I called people like doing stories for Netflix. And I pitched this, and they were like, oh, that's pretty cool. Now, a few things to change, but actually we are interested. So I was like, oh, well, that's pretty cool to work at night, especially when you're excited. So do lucid dreaming. I can send you the best protocol in the world. Just take my card, and I can send you this. And also what we discovered is that we can trick the caveman in us. So when I was trained as a teacher, they told me, you need to remember, people can't learn anything before they know that they don't know. So any course, it's like, let's talk about French history. Any course, it will be like, do you know like anything about French history? And you need to let that think in. So people know they don't know, and suddenly they are open to listen and to actually learn. And it's pretty amazing. There are studies that show that if you activate 6 different feelings, like very precisely in time, you unlock a lot of things, positive things in you. And this guy actually, on YouTube, you can just type in 6-phase guided meditation. It's not a meditation. So actually you induce different feelings in you, and it unlocks a lot of things. Use all these things, it's like very interesting. Now let's go back to technology, because I tried not to put any formula, nothing complicated, so only this ugly graph here. What I want to say is that regarding your mind, as like you're young, you're adolescent, and you're old, basically what is happening is that the amount of you that is explained by DNA is going higher. What I mean here is that in your body and in your mind, you reach a trajectory, you reach a plateau that is actually supposed to be your trajectory and who you are supposed to be genetically speaking. That seems counterintuitive because you could think, well, when I was born, I was who I am. No, not really. In fact, you have all this DNA, and we apply the different recipes, and you converge to who you should be from a biological identity perspective. So that's very important. So it's the heritability is like, be aware of who you are supposed to be, biologically speaking, and trick the system. Some stuff you want, you can accelerate. Others you don't want, and you can fight them. Another stuff about this is, I don't know how many parents we have in the room. Do you have kids? Somebody? Well, a lot of them. So stop feeling guilty about you being a good parent, because your kids, you're not modeling, you're not doing a statue with your kids. This means they have their own genetic trajectory. You're just a gardener. So this is a plant you have the seed, that's awesome. What you're supposed to provide is the light and the water and all the elements and so on. But there are plenty of studies about that. If you take twins and you put some in a difficult environment and another one in a nurturing environment, they actually converge after a while. But the guy in a good environment is converging faster. It's the same for a plant. If you don't give enough water and so on, but actually, over time, they converge. So, for the parents here, don't feel guilty. Just let them grow. You're not going to change the DNA of your plant. You're not going to do anything. Just like listen, provide. You're not creating your kids. You're just guiding their growth. So you're a gardener. So That's very important. And obviously, secret of happiness, one of your most meaningful and deep connection is your kids. So invest time in your family. That seems obvious. It's so obvious that in genetics, I'm a geneticist by background, there is a law that we call the Hamilton law. Do you know that one? It's pretty insane. You have like all these, in the mountains, how do you call these little animals? Meadow dogs or something like this? They're whistling, you know. And you have all these holes, so basically you can survive predators, but you have only a limited number of this shelter. So you have this network, and actually what we discovered is that if you trigger an alert and you decide to stay here while other people get their lives saved, the fact that your decision is actually a genetic landscape, yeah, they obey to the same laws. So actually, you're going to stay outside according to a very demonstrated function that is the amount of your genes, of your common genes you're going to save. So you're ready to sacrifice yourself. So let's say you have like 10 kids in the middle, and you believe that if you stay here, like 10 of them will be saved. And you have 50% of your DNA in each of these 10. So basically you have 5 times your DNA that you can save against 1 time, which is you. So you do this decision. You are exactly like this dog. Like you are driven by your genes. And actually we are just vehicle. We are not really human beings. We are just a bag of genes, and they manipulate us to reach the next generation. So leverage your mind powers. What this means also is that heritability, so it does mean if you want to know who you will be at 60 years old, you need to discuss with your father and your grandpa who they were at 60 years old, because there is a direct correlation. There are plenty of stuff we don't know, and basically you need to experiment on yourself, test on yourself. The food, the dream, like anything, test, measure, and optimize, always. So another stuff, I'm not going to talk about sex like today, that's a pity, good to wake up, but it's too big, so I will not talk about water, the importance of water, exercise of sex. All of them are very important. What I want to emphasize here is that secret of happiness and so on, time is love. So if you need to develop a good health and live longer, it's to give back to your network, including with these, the only accuracy that matters, actually. Your lifespan is directly correlated with your romantic life. So if you have a happy couple, basically you're going to live 15 years longer. If you're happy single, yeah, that's kind of neutral, but you will live less if you're in a bad situation. So just putting this out there. If you have problem at home, solve them. Chapter 5, organs, cells. So how many organs do we have? Why? And I'm not talking about the main ones. What do you think? More than 10? Who say more than 10? More than 20? Still 4, 5. More than 50? 1. We do have 78 organs. 78 organs are giving you life, and what do you do for your organs, right? It's like, we know that we have this toolbox. We don't have all of them. And some of them are going to disappear during our life, but they give you life. You have an amazing, amazing instrument here, your body. All of these guys are working every second for you, and what do you do for them? So ask yourself the question. If you tell me, well, I stopped alcohol and smoking. Good. You're working for your lungs, man. Stop smoking. That's good for this guy. What about your liver? Well, I stopped drinking. Good. But how many boxes are you ticking? At the end of his day, like, my grandpa was pretty much deaf. He was not able to listen to anything. What do I do for my ears? I need to know, because it's part of my genetic network. I'm predisposed to get deaf. I don't want that. So have a look on this list and ask yourself the question, what do I do for this guy? And now, what is missing on this? Well, we discovered a few years ago that all our organs are not human. Eh? What are you talking about? Well, some organs are like, we are made of 30 trillion human cells, but I will go directly here, but we are made of 100 trillion bacteria and other stuff. So if we count the number of cells, you are not human. You are more bacteria than human. So obviously human cells are much bigger. So what we see of you is actually like these gorgeous human beings we see here. But you have more bacterial cells than anything else. So this is pretty important. Going back to humans, so what is missing here is actually microbiome, all what is not human, and is actually, you can't live without them. You can't. You're eating a salad? Well, human can't digest a salad. It's done by your bacteria. They give you back the nutrients. Anything you're doing, you are not human. You are an ecosystem. And these guys are really important. So now, I want to do this strange statement, which is like you're part zombie as well. Because your human cells are not all active. So they have a program, but at the same time, some of them should kill themselves in a process that we call apoptosis. And they don't kill themselves, and they are just standing on the way of your health. They are what we call senescent cells. You have millions, tens of millions of these cells, and on your Delphic boat, they are not pulling their weight. They are actually shortening your lifespan. You need to fight them. And we know how to fight them, kind of. There are different ways to do it. We'll show the recipe, but currently we do have clinical trials for senolytics. So to get rid of all these half-dead zombie cells. So in the future, do that. Like, remove your zombie cells. There are different ways to do it. One of the easiest way to do it is to eat less, because your body will be like, oh, I need energy. Where can I find energy? And will actively actually kill these zombie cells. And also do exercise. So in the future, go there. If you can buy these senolytics, one is FDA approved and so on, so you can really get rid of all these guys. 100 trillion, so microbiome. So we have many communities of microbes in us, and all of them are super important. Everybody's excited about the first one, the most diverse one, gut microbiome. And when I jumped into the business, I discovered that others were not that well covered. So I decided to develop actually a tool to analyze your oral microbiome. Why is that? You brush your teeth, you have 700 roughly of bacteria in your mouth. They enter into the bloodstream and they go and they populate your organs, brains, heart, lungs, and so on. 10 years later, you can develop Alzheimer's disease or diabetes and so on. So your mouth is actually a kind of sanctuary. It's the first time your body sees outside world. And don't let the door open. So you need to monitor who is there. And you need to protect yourself. So it's super important to do that. Plenty of research tools exist. And I was analyzing the DNA of one of my customers. And I was like, well, I see a lot of DNA sequences that are not human. So I was like, what is this? Boom. Oh, we have hundreds of species. Like, we can see actually the oral microbiome. So we can see the human genome, obviously, but we can see also the microbiome. So protect your non-human organ, your microbiome. They are protecting you. Currently, people are developing synthetic microbiomes to give to the astronaut that will settle on Mars, because that's a really good way to protect the health of the people long term. So manage stress, sleep enough. It's like any organ, really. And obviously don't kill them. So don't use antibiotics. If you use antibiotics and you kill these good guys, most of them are good guys, restore them. How do you restore your microbiome? You basically eat fermented foods, good stuff, kefir, yogurt, chocolate, and so on. So respect this non-human organ. Molecular wellness, so I will not kill you with all these technology stuff, so I will be pretty quick because it's like I'm a bit long. But you need to monitor your health at the level you think you can mitigate the risk. So it can be your DNA. Oh my God, my mother developed a breast cancer. What does it mean for my daughter? So decide to identify each of your risks and have a look on the register on the memory device that provide you the answer. This is a human body. If you go into the cells and so on, you have basically you have chromosomes. These are the different volumes of your encyclopedia. This encyclopedia is huge, 23 volume by 2, made of A, T, C, and G's, DNA. So it's a recipe to do a human being. The DNA is incredibly complex, and it's a kind of fractal text in which many things are written. So if you zoom in, basically you have Joey, you have, what's your name? Marilyn is here. And you can see that between Joey and Marilyn, you have in the DNA, you have common stuff in black, and you have this little modification. So basically, out of 3 billion letters, you have 1 million letters that are slightly different between you. So some of the volumes are different, X and Y. Okay, you're a boy, you're a girl. But if you go to non-sex chromosome, basically you see this small single nucleotide polymorphism, this small mutation. And most of the mutation, it's actually normal to have mutation. They are not linked to disease, but they make you able to tan, they make you able to do these, to be good in basketball or whatever. So that's really who you are. So when I saw that, I actually, for different people, so these are different people I actually analyzed the DNA for, I actually created a kind of interface. So instead of complicated science, I try to have something where they can actually learn. And I developed a kind of Google interface, DNA Google of you. So you enter any keyword. I want to know what are my predisposition about lung cancer, because my brother is developing a lung cancer. And he will just print directly the information. And what is really important is actually to have something that is actionable. So this is a real result from a footballer. So thank you. I'm not going to disclose his name, but it's Manchester United, Arsenal, a big footballer. And he asked me, okay, what do you think about my DNA? And I said, well, that's impressive because you are you have the maximum score regarding the athletic performance and so on. But at the same time, you are predisposed to have muscular injury. And in the way you recover, you're average. So if your team is going to, to play in South Africa, you should fly first to absorb, because it's tiring to have a bit of jet lag and all these So you should go there, and actually you should also adapt your training, because you can't actually, you're predisposed to have muscular injury. So it does mean when you do trainings, you need to actually record your acceleration, all this integrated acceleration, and make sure that you're not going to get hurt. Too bad, The training was not adapted, got a ACL, stopped his career. Can you imagine how much money you're not going to make when you stop a career as a world-class footballer? On top of that, he got this long QT syndrome, so basically he could have problems in terms of cardiology. So here I was like, anytime you need to wear this wearable that is going to monitor your health regarding your health, so you will know if you have a problem or not. Probably remember this footballer that died on the pitch, the Icelandic guy. We can actually determine whether you do have this time bomb in your DNA or not. So you can do that for a lot of things. For instance, my spiritual father developed a lung cancer, and the guy told us, well, you have 6 months to live. And it was like, we got 20 treatments, okay? They gave the first one, not working. 2 months later, they gave the second one, not working. Well, one more try, and the oncologist was like, François, I have no clue. We're going to pick one that I think may work. We picked one, and it did not work. He died. So what I wanted to do is actually to be able to predict from your DNA which treatment is going to work or not. So you have this this scenario. So when you need a plan B, you can actually go back and have a look on which one in green you can actually tolerate, which one in orange is like, we need to adjust something, or the one in red that either are going to kill you actively, or you need to increase the dose because you're not really responsive to that. Small thing about medications. The first guy to see medication are actually the guy from your microbiome. So according to your microbiome, they are going to degrade medication or not. So it's like, keep this in mind as well, because sometimes we give the right medication but to the wrong microbiome and it's not acting. Long story short, identify your risk, even at the DNA level. If you can't afford that, discuss with the people around you and you will have an idea about at least the tip of the iceberg about your risk. I was talking about the grandpa and the fact that this starving grandpa in Ireland is impacting me right now. In this encyclopedia, this recipe of how to do a human being, basically what we can do is to highlight part of the text. So you take this, and you're going to go through the encyclopedia, and you're going to put here in color, okay, express this in young heart cell, in young lung cell, and so on. So you pick the right recipe that are going to do the right cells. So epigenetic modification, if you can afford it, buy a kit, that's amazing, because you know your biological age. So suddenly you can actually eat differently, sleep differently, do things differently, and see the impact on your health. This is one of my employees. I told her, well, you don't feel well? No, on the contrary, I feel great. Do you mind if I offer you epigenetic test? So it's a bit different. It's not on the DNA, it's antibodies. And we did this, and we have this weird chromatogram on antibody IgG. And basically, you can deduce whether your biological age is actually your chronological age. And she basically came from like, oh, I'm 37, but biologically speaking, I'm 20. And I was like, oh my God, I would love to have this difference. It's not the case anymore. Because she was like, oh, I'm done. She gave up a bit, and now, like yesterday, she told me, yeah, the clinic wants to keep me, because basically health, you need to fight for your health all the time, otherwise it's going to degrade. Regarding the microbiome, what we are actually doing in my company is we are developing the first AI-powered, DNA-based analysis of oral microbiome. Why? Because it's good for the oral health, but it's linked to all these chronic conditions. Type 2 diabetes, cancer, and other diseases such as like cystic fibrosis or even Alzheimer's disease. So Alzheimer's disease, for instance, you got human predisposition and you got exposition to some bacteria. So for 2 years ago, it was demonstrated that Porphyromonas gingivalis, if you inject it to a mouse, the mouse is developing Alzheimer. If you don't, they are not developing Alzheimer. So when you brush your teeth, and you do have, all of us, we do have this bacteria in the mouth right now. So if you have a small amount, that's fine. But if you have a big amount, it means that every day you expose your body to this risk. And it's not going to happen before 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. Because once you open the door, and they go, and they wait for their time to come, maybe at one point your immune system will collapse for any reason, and then you will be in big trouble. But we can quantify actually these bacteria. We can quantify your health. We can even, like in red here, you have the bacteria, and in blue, I don't know if you see, it's actually viruses. So we all have endogenous viruses, and if we are tired and our immune system is down, they are waking up. So the future is to sequence, I like this movie, is to sequence everything all the time, everywhere, and so on. So don't be frightened, but tomorrow your toilets will be connected. And we'll say, oh, I'm sorry, Marilyn, in 3 days you will be sick. You actually got this. Don't you feel tired already? Or, yeah, Joey, you got flu A. You got no symptoms, but in 2 days you will be really sick. So the future you, the singularity is coming. This is me. Well, this was me yesterday. When I arrived in Finland, I was like, oh, great, food. So first meal, second meal, monitoring glucose. I'm predisposed to have age-related macular degeneration. So I have an Amsler grid. So every month, I will stare at this point, check if these lines are still lines or not, because there is no way to cure it. But if you detect it in time, you can stop it. So I'm doing this, got all my DNA microbiome monitored. And why is that? Because it's my risk. So I know exactly I can get deaf, blind, can develop diabetes, and I identify all my red guys. So I identify all my 50 killers in my DNA. I know who wants to. Basically, I know my weaknesses, and I compensate this. Do the same. If you have nothing in terms of budget to put, like follow your belt, follow your body, trick your mind. In any case, you should do your DNA SWAT and follow different websites. I recommend this brilliant biohacker, Brian Johnson, is providing amazing advices. So we are at a special moment in time because AI and all these digital tools, they're like pretty cheap and everywhere and very powerful. So leverage this. Join molecular clubs, longevity clubs. You have plenty of them. If you don't know which one, you should ask me. And like basically take away, stop self-destruction, poison, get the basics right, establish healthy baseline, and then optimize. So what I want you to do, and this is my last slide, sorry I was a bit long, is today you make this decision that, yeah, I'm going to dedicate a bit of time and money to my health. It's great. If you say 10 minutes a week, I say, yeah, congrats, that's great. That is fantastic. If you say 1 hour a day, even better. So identify your risk according to what you feel, your family, maybe you have additional information, establish the baseline. You should have a mitigation plan to make sure that you actually have less risk this year, and then establish which biomarkers you should follow, why, and then once you have these, you should establish a kind of virtual circles, like something that is automatically improving and analyzing your data. So that's probably post-singularity. I will take any question you have. I hope you're not sleeping. Congratulations, you survived my long talk for this morning, but I'm available for any question. And thank you again.
Perfect. Let's give François a huge, huge round of applause. We are running a bit on time, so we're going to save questions for the networking portion. But I'm going to quickly switch slides here and then get myself back on stage. But hey, thank you so huge, 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 huge round of applause for François. Please keep it going. All right. I'm solo today, so doing both. All right. Thank you so much once again. We wanted to invite a few companies who are just as passionate about health as François is. So our next presenter has worked for over 25 years in combining visual storytelling and pioneering technology to distribute content. He founded the AI to AI company together with his co-founder based on their idea to develop a new concept that uses the attractiveness of stories and gameplay experiences. The benefit of this product would be phenomenal and give a positive impact on numerous business ideas. So please help me give a huge round of applause to Harry, founder of AI to AI.
Okay, now we can hear you better. Okay. Thank you so much for the introduction, and thank you, sir, for the last presentation. That was awesome. My task here today, and thank you for the invitation, is to present our idea for maybe for the multidimensional recording devices as we human are, and so we have one evolution of from that to a digital version, which is called Pallo. Pallo, the story of Pallo we have created it for motivate people to interact with each other and have like external. Well, let's put it this way: we find that the people are so attracted with the screens and the gameplays and all that. The fundamental need is there. So, what if we can use technology in a way that people actually want to use? Like there's especially in our the target group in this space, which is the well-being and specifically elderly people, and as we will see in a later phase. So we wanted to crack that code basically. Maybe you saw the lucid dreams. I don't know about the whole thing, but that's the fundamental why we have set it up and why we have came up with an idea and to create the actual technology behind on top of that one, the top of the idea to support that the mission and vision, if you will. And that's why we're here. And I'm usually the guy behind the camera, so I wanted to bring out the one video of the cool guy called Magnus, who saw the Paillier in the first time last year. We were in an event, and I think he summarized the whole thing pretty well.
I found a lot of things, but I have to say when I saw Paillier, something resonated with me. I liken it to the monolith scene in Stanley Kubrick's 2001, where you like an object can move your mind. So this is programmable toy-like rubber ball that you could use as a motion detector, or you can create a game which will make you move or do certain tasks. I mean, the fact that it's this kind of plaything, which is programmable and ambient and like tactile, to me, it embodies a lot of things that I've said about the future. Our smart devices are going to become more analog in their feel. It's going to be self-programmable. We will not have one single device like we do today with a smartphone. We'll have many different devices. So Paillier to me set my mind in a new direction. I felt like it's the kind of thing that you will find inside an Apple store. A smart, connected, playful, innovative device. And the fact that it's from the Nordics makes me proud. It's something I'm going to be talking about in conferences around the world. It's fantastic.
I just love this guy. One of the top 10 known futurologists in the world, I guess. So the guy travels around the world and keeps excellent speeches about the creativity and all the future stuff, what's happening in the world. And there goes all our marketing budget for him. Well, okay. Anyways, that's the topic today is the well-being and the whole that area we want to cover. And that's although there's tons of things you can probably do with the whole devices, with this open source technology, but in this case, the low hanging fruit is the lowest hanging fruit, and the most tangible way to is the well-being, and there's a clear need as we are about to tackle, and for the elderly people, we wanted to create something which is like a toy-like or something that people want to use, as I mentioned earlier. It's almost like the pet. It's kind of like, although the real pet is not easy to replace, but like there's many cases people want to nurture, take care of something. So especially in this target group, we wanted to create something which is people want to hold. We want to it's almost like a 4D Tamagotchi, as someone said. So it communicates with you, and it measures, and what are the problems we wanted to tackle with this one is like the existing technology in many cases. I'm not saying all, but in many cases it's that I've heard from the field that it's people they don't really want to use it, like especially if you talk about elderly people, like most likely they will just abandon the whole technology. And to be honest, like if you are given the same technology, and would you use it on a daily basis, like which you are giving to maybe the kids or the elderly people in this area? So that's a kind of interesting question. So and also many of the cases that they are only designed to do this one thing, which is good as it is, but there could be a use for at least room for some devices that you can actually modify on the go and use it in a different purposes. Maybe the grandparents can use, but then also the kids can use it with a different kind of application within the devices, and that's why we wanted to create sort of open source and visual programming within the device. And then the instant feedback means that this is a communication device as well. There's a screen, it's a haptic, it vibrates, it has the LED lights, and it makes a sounds as well. I don't know if you hear this one, but the guy wants to talk and make a sound as well. So so it covers all the senses we use on a daily basis to communication within the communications. So in this in the well-being sector, like let's go directly to the focus on that area alone, like for the nursery, and this kind of helping any kind of rehabilitation or treatments, you name it. And in our case, there's a company called Predicel, which is here as well presented, and with them we are aiming to reduce the rehabilitation time by 50% of the stroke patients after the hospital time. So, and I'm gonna go to that use case next. So, but before that one, just few words about the fundamental of the design. So it's the functionalities are more like the smartphone combined with the ball. That's why the design is what it is. It's like can use multiple apps. So like I told, like a programmable open source software that everyone can basically use visual coding. And so basically what it means in reality, you can come up with if you have an idea how to use it, how to use the multi-sensor functionalities within the device to help your service, to digitalize your service or gamify your service. Maybe you can come up with an idea and make it minimal viable product within the 24 hours or so, or even less. I mean, depending on the visual coding skills. So that's the idea. So it combines the mobile phone functionality and the play the ball like a durable and intuitiveness of the whole idea. Okay, let's go to the case study. It's in this case, like I mentioned, that we tried to reduce the rehabilitation time by 50%, and at the moment, at least some cases, it's done by the whole rehabilitation time after the stroke is done by manually, like pen and paper. During the 6-week period, there's a nurse going twice, meet the person face to face, and they measure things such as like how high you're gonna raise the hand and the pressure power and then the steps, and so that all will be transferred to digitally online real time. And then the monitoring can be done like accordingly. So basically now, before there was twice during the 6 weeks that you get the data, but now you can get the actual data like every day or even more often, as long as you want, as often you want it. And because the patient will have the actual device at home or with her or him at home. So you just can imagine how much time and effort that will save from the nursing people, and also for the this guy makes sounds all the time. I don't know if you hear them. Okay, but I'll again, like I told you, better with the behind the camera, so I saw the video of the use case. Oh, actually, there's actually 2 cases now within the same video, but well, you see.
Aitoain teknologialla voidaan langattomasti saavuttaa tarkempi kuvantamistulos. Tarkemman kuvantamistuloksen avulla tunnistetaan pienempiä rakenteita, joita voidaan hyödyntää esimerkiksi reaaliaikaisessa syöpähoidossa. Pienempien rakenteiden tunnistaminen lääketieteellisistä kuvista helpottaa lääketieteellisen diagnoosin tekemistä, ja sen avulla voidaan tarkemmin tunnistaa esimerkiksi sydämen rakenteita.
AI-to-AI:n yhteistyössä me kehitetään semmoista Pallo-nimistä teknologiaa, joka tuottaa sitten Predicel-alustaan reaaliaikaista, tosiaikaista dataa tämmöisistä mittaustapahtumista, testaustapahtumista osana kuntoutusprosessia. Puhdistusvoimaa, käden nostokulmaa, näitä kävelytestejä tehdään, ja tämä tieto automaattisesti siirtyy sitten ammattilaisten näkyville välittömästi sen testitapahtuman jälkeen.
So yeah, that's the use case, and I promise to keep this presentation short. And there's more on the corner there with Timo. You can test how the ball is used as a controller into Avatar. So that's one interesting case as well among the many. But please go and see and try it out. And here's our team shortly.
Perfect. Let's give a huge hand to Ari. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I recommend going when we have a little bit of networking time to demo that there. Okay, last speaker. We're all here. We're together, right? Yeah, okay. Keep smiling. It's better than hooting and hollering, I guess. So our final speaker co-founded Voimara, an AI startup that translates and extracts intelligence insights from recorded customer calls. As a project lead in Procter & Gamble, he delivered a $16 million cost-saving project awarded Procter & Gamble's most valuable player, and also led business development at Grace Soft Startup that created multimedia-based college yearbooks. He created Jointly app, the QR customer code management solution for small businesses and event organizers. So please help me welcome Joshua, CEO and co-founder of HeartNet. Yeah, you're all good to go. Thank you, sir.
Hello, everyone. How are we doing today? Awesome. So I'm pretty excited to be here today. And what I'll be talking about today is in the space of pharmaceutical and healthcare. But prior to doing what I do today, I've had the opportunity to start out my professional career at a very, very young age. In fact, when I was working in Procter & Gamble, like he was talking about, I was actually 19 years old. And I was there for like 4 years until I was 23. And then I moved to Finland to complete my bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering. And then I started a master's in artificial intelligence. And today, this is my third startup in Finland. So I'll be telling a very short story, and I hope that I can connect the story to what we do at HeartNet. At the end of the story, I promise to deliver two things. Number one, I want to show how snake oil salesman story, I think many of us probably know that story already, is actually still very relevant among us today. And there's like a lot of snake oil salesmen operating in the world of pharmaceuticals. And then I want to show how what we're doing at HeartNet is helping to solve this very problem. So, back to snake oil. Snake oil was profoundly marketed or promoted as a cure-all, like a medicine that cures all kinds of illnesses. And people went on buying it and buying it. However, it was supposedly produced by boiling rattlesnakes, right? And when you boil these rattlesnakes, some kind of oil would simmer up to the pan, and then you scoop this oil into some bottles, and then you go sell them. What had happened was the sales was so profitable, and it started to attract hucksters, as in fraudsters, right? And as we all know that when a new business is attracting a lot of financial sales or rapid success, it attracts government regulation or investigation in some way. So what the investigators gathered was the actual constituent of the snake oil was no more than petroleum gel or some kind of petroleum oil, beef fat, capsicum, which is paprika. Also, they had, I think, camphor and turpentine. And the reason for that is the hucksters, in an attempt to make more money, decided to find a way to make it easier and cheaper for them to produce. Basically, they faked it. And that is exactly how fake and falsified drugs became a part of the world that we live today. So what are we doing at HeartNet? We are solving fake and falsified drugs. According to the WHO, trading fake and falsified drugs reached about $200 billion during the pandemic. And of course, countries in African region and the Asian region are where this is predominantly active. In the case of Africa, 90% of all the pharmaceutical products in the African continent is actually imported. 46% from Europe, 8% from the US, and the remaining is just from different parts of the world. So what we do is we are helping pharmaceutical manufacturers to protect their product in their supply chain. And by doing that, they protect their consumers, the patients, beyond the pill. So today, I want to use this privilege to demonstrate how our product works and the future that we are trying to create in the health tech and the pharmaceutical space. So that takes me to doing a live presentation of how the product would work. So any of the target markets where we are operating today, if a consumer goes to any pharmacy or dispensers or hospitals, health centers to pick up a drug, the drug is no longer a fast-moving consumer good because of what we did. We have converted drugs to smart-moving consumer goods, which means that this product can basically communicate through any form of digital channel. This product itself would also carry 3 different things. Number 1 is provenance data. Number 2 is proof of authenticity. And number 3 is an interactive token. And here it is. So unfortunately, we couldn't connect it to the screen to kind of have it more magnified. So what happens is the user installs the application, our application, the HealthTech application, and once they have it set up, they click on Smart Com, which is basically smart communications, and they can bring the product in contact with their phone in any direction. And once they do that, the product is able to send the 3 data that I mentioned earlier on, which is the provenance data, which is proof of origin, where it's coming from. It's journeyed through the entire supply chain with some other data. And then the second thing is a proof of authenticity. And then number 3, it's interactive token. Why is the interactive token very important? The FDAs in the local markets want to get reports of every engagement with the pharmaceutical products that is being acquired in the market. So in this case, I could file, say, an incidence report that allows me to report that, oh, there was a product I picked up in the shop that has been flagged suspicious by our application, right? And on top of this, we build additional digital therapeutics for the consumers to be able to continue to improve their journey of recovery whenever they fall sick or have any form of illnesses. So in a nutshell, that's what we do at HealthTech, and we're hoping to be able to go across the world to be a leader in the space of safe and secure pharmaceutical space. So that's it.
Perfect. Let's give a huge round to Joshua. And you'll have an opportunity to demo the product. They'll be right here, so you can actually use the app in an up close. We're sorry that we couldn't get it on the screen, but it's very clear that HealthTech has potential to HealthTech has the potential to revolutionize healthcare and improve patients' outcomes. So as I mentioned earlier today, we are a community, we're a playground and a safe space for the exchanging of ideas. So there's always something going on at Epicenter. And so if you'll allow me just 2 more minutes to talk about some upcoming events that we have happening in March. And there are QR codes that will be behind me if you want to sign up as well. But so on March 8th, we have our monthly Afterwork series. This time, we're getting ready to rock the house with some female founders. So on International Women's Day, we've invited 6 founders to come and share their stories. On stage will be, there'll be Good Call, Breaks, Hiwa, Work Ahead, and Risk Rate. Gentlemen, you are invited to attend as well. I looked at the list. We have, I think 175 registered right now, and 98% of them have female names. So please. QR code, sign up, support as well, But it's gonna be a fantastic night. On March 16th, we have a series that we've started this year called Hired. It's taking a look at all things with regard to talent. So we're talking about talent tech, how we attract foreign talent and retain them as well. But on March 16th, Priyanka Banjari, who's the CEO and co-founder of BusinessWiz, will be our guide to talk about how we have difficult conversations in the workspace. And so we all know, whether we're scaling or a smaller company, that sometimes those conversations can be a bit difficult. So this will be an interactive session, so definitely not one to miss. And it's also a breakfast session as well, so we can get our mojo up early in the morning. And March 22nd, we go back into the metaverse. This is a monthly series where we're looking at all things metaverse. Our first was asking the question of whether the metaverse even exists. This month, we talked about digital fashion and how fashion designers have had to move from the physical space to the digital space and what that looked like. On March 22nd, Emmy, who's a co-founder of Arilyn, and Laura, who's the COO and partner of Zoan, will be on hand to talk about the societal impact of metaverse, good, bad, or in between. So that should be a really fun one as well. And then to end the month, on March 28th, Tech is back. This time, we're talking women in tech, and not specifically based on gender and women. We're talking about AI and machine learning and new trends, topics, but also what are the potential, how can we create better synergies within technology industries, but also we'll peek a little bit into some tough topics with regards to society as well. And that's it that's it, that's a lot, right? From the guy who's planning it all. That's it, come on, just easy, just four events. But I want to thank you all so much for being here this morning. There's still breakfast, there's still coffee, but please show everyone some love. François didn't get to have questions answered. I know I saw a few smoke coming out of ears while he was speaking. So I know there's burning questions for him, and please take an opportunity to demo the two products that we have here today. So thank you all so much for being here, and I'm Joey. If you have any questions about Epicenter, I'm here. Christian, our country manager, is there, and Hari, our sales manager, is on the stairs as well. So thank you all so much for coming.